Today is part one of the buyer seminar series. This is a 5-part series. Megan here is part one. She is with us as a financial advisor at Northwestern Mutual. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Kadijah. Hi, Ainsley. Thank you guys for having me today. It's nice.
Thank you for coming. So today we're just going to be talking about the buying and selling process and what's your role as a financial advisor. So go ahead, introduce yourself, and then we'll jump into the questions.
Yeah, cool. So like you already said, I'm a financial advisor with Northwestern Mutual. I work with individuals in really all stages of life, from career starters right out of college to professionals approaching retirement and really everywhere in between. So anything from setting aside for a major purchase like buying a home, or just simple savings and budgeting strategies, really to tax efficiency and investment and retirement planning. There's never a better time to sit down with an advisor than when you're going through or thinking about going through the home buying process. So I personally purchased my first home a couple of years back, and I remember my real estate agent being my lifeline with all of the stupid questions I had on a daily basis. So I love this platform and being able to answer some of these questions today.
Awesome. Yay. We're so happy to have you. All right, so let's jump right into it. So first things first, what is your role as a financial advisor?
So my role as an advisor is really to help individuals get off what I say the treadmill of life, and really just have a conversation around and regarding finances. Not always top of mind or most fun conversation, right? Especially after a long day of work, it's really not the conversation people are trying to have. But I just want to put my clients in a really good spot to be able to wake up 10, 15, 20 years from now and say, great, I'm good. Like, I did all the prior planning to be really well positioned today.
So I have to say that I totally agree with that, because as you already know, your team is my financial advisor, which I love so much. And I was actually on the phone with your team earlier, and I have to say, every purchase that I make that's not like my day-to-day purchase, I call or text my financial advisor and I'm like, listen, this is what I need to do. Can I do it? Where do I get the money from? So like, I leverage her financial experience instead of me just, swiping my cards and be like, oh yeah, I can pay for this. You know what I mean? Like, why not call my financial advisor, really get her expertise on where to draw the money from and so on and so forth. And it's worked out for me very well. I mean, I did when, just becoming a realtor, right? Like now I'm a full-time realtor. I've been doing it for, I believe, 2 years now. And your team is the reason why I was able to do it. I remember calling your team and I'm like, listen, I want to be a full-time realtor. I want to do it in 6 months. How do I do it? And I sat down with your team and they, we planned it step by step, what I need to do and so on and so forth. And here I am today. So thank you.
Awesome. Making dreams come true. I know.
Yes.
Just the silly questions like that on a day-to-day basis, though, even, me being a financial advisor, you would think, okay, well, we're all set. No, me and my husband still have our own personal financial advisor, because sometimes we have those silly day-to-day questions as well that I need to take a step back and hear like a non-biased opinion, because of course, my purchases I always think are going to be correct and he'll always think are correct. So it's nice to have that middle ground.
Yes, totally. I'm sure she knows that I have her on speed dial. So next question. In what ways do you help someone plan their financial goals?
Yeah, so there's so many different areas that we work in to build a complete and comprehensive financial plan. So because there's no cookie cutter scenario, I say, that really makes sense for everybody, it's really getting to know my clients first and foremost on a really personal level. Right, you're in the same position. You don't just, you go out and show houses that are just going to come out of nowhere to show people, right? You want to figure out who they are, what they like, what are their long-term goals for the home they're trying to buy. So we're really essentially in like the same situation, right? So just figuring out exactly where people are at in life and what are their goals over the course of the next 3, 5, 10 years or so. What does retirement look like for you? Do we have any major purchases we're saving for? Are we investing as efficiently as possible? Do we know the repercussions to, long-term retirement vehicles that we're currently investing into? And a lot of it is just being a source of knowledge and education for them. So just helping them navigate through different times of their lives and bringing back that plan to them that's essentially going to show them where they're at right now and where they want to be from a goal standpoint and how to get yourself there as efficiently as possible, right? Helping you get from point A to point B, like you mentioned, your goal in 6 months to become a realtor. How do we make this happen? And bringing back your plan and saying, this is what we have to do to get you there.
It's funny because I remember sitting down with your team and planning out, my 3 years, my 5-year and 10-year goal. And I remember really struggling with it because I couldn't, yes, I can kind of think, what I want in 3 years, but then in 5 years, I'm like, what do I really want? And then we jumped to 10 years and I'm like, I don't know. And I loved it because your team was able to kind of just guide me through, what's important. Like what's important to me in 5 to 10 years. It really helped me grasp all of that information so that I actually have a detailed plan of my 5-year and my 10-year. And again, it's not written in stone, right? So like at any point in time, I can meet with your team again and kind of go back through it and edit it and change it. So it's amazing. It made me think what I really, really wanted in life and what my goals were and so on and so forth. So it made a huge difference, not with just buying a house, but, getting married, having kids, sending the kids to college, right? When I remember sitting with your team and they're like, yeah, like how big do you want your family? And I'm like, saying numbers and they're like, oh yeah, well, college is this amount and times how many kids. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. I have to think about that again. Yeah, so it really gives you a reality check to like kind of adjust and change your goals. So it's nice. It worked out really well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one of the toughest questions when we sit down with a client is really mapping out their life plans. It's something that sometimes it's really just a reflection for ourselves. Like, wow, where do I see myself in 5 years? I don't know. Okay, maybe I have a 5-year plan. Where do I see myself in 10 years? I've never thought that far out. So it's a lot of reflecting also.
Yeah, agree. Totally agree. Next question. This is my favorite question. How do you get paid/compensated?
I always tell my clients at the end of our conversation, well, you can like send me a check for $1 million if you want to, but you don't have to. So I'm not a fee-based practice. Some of the advisors in the office are, however, I don't charge a fee for my time, right? So like a CPA or a lawyer, you're not going to get a bill in the mail for the time that we spend together. I'm really paid in 2 ways. On the first way, the monetary side, if there is any solution, recommendation, vehicle that's implemented into a financial plan for a client, I'm paid on the back end by the company. So there's never money being exchanged between us, which is great. And I really like that, right? I want their dollars to be going towards their financial plan and not to me. It's kind of, counterintuitive. Now, I do represent Northwestern Mutual. However, I do have access to broker out to any other company that in some situation might be more suitable for whatever reason, right? So Northwestern Mutual is a AAA rated company. So 9 out of 10 times I'm always going with them and recommending their products or solutions. But if for some reason we do prefer to look outside, then I do have that ability and capability as well. And then the other way I'm paid is really just, working friend to friend to friend. So getting my name out there in the community and, making an impact with as many families as possible and helping, everybody. I always say, let me know any sister, relative, brother, friend that I can help in the same sense that I've helped you. And that's really, the most impactful way that I grow my business.
Is it safe? So since you kind of explained the 2 ways, is it safe to say that you are free to the people that you are meeting?
Certainly. Yeah. So I know initially I'll always have a conversation with somebody and they'll say, well, what does this cost to have this initial conversation? and like I said, it's completely free, right? Even if there is no recommendations that I come back with, even if it's really just double checking the plan that you already have and ensuring that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted and you're doing everything that you need to, and it's just peace of mind. There's no, no dollar that you'll ever have to put towards anything.
Okay, so I'm going to say this again. All right, so to meet with you is free. To talk with you is free. To go over any financial planning, whether it's buying a house, buying a car, just making sure that they're financially good for their 5-year, their 10-year plan, whatever the case may be, it is free.
Completely free, unless, like I said, you want to send me a check for $1 million. I'll take it.
Okay, great. Because I feel like a lot of people think financial, I don't know where this came from, but like apparently there's the idea out there that financial advisors cost so much money. And I feel like that kind of steers people away from actually wanting to meet and sit down, even talk over the phone with the financial advisor. So I always have to push the fact that they are free so that, they are more inclined to go ahead and get the expertise and information that they really need. I mean, what you do is really, really important. I mean, I'm your number one fan.
It is. It's really important. And I do say, it's completely free to you. The only thing it's going to cost you is your time. So I know time is so valuable these days. So, let's grab 15, 20 minutes of an initial phone call and see if there's any synergy, or if I believe that there is anything I can help be a resource or provide to you. And if not, then, we won't waste each other's times at all. Because I think, in the sense of what does this cost, really, time is the most valuable essence, and that's really all it's going to cost you is your time.
Awesome. Perfect. Love it. All right. So let's jump right into the home ownership of things. So next question. Why does a home buyer or a home seller need a financial advisor?
Yeah. So when you're going through the home buying process, whether it's, I don't know, for the first time or for the 21st time, right? I've been there. I know that there's questions that you have that are going to come up throughout the process, and finances certainly need to be ironed out. So there isn't a better time than then to sit down with an advisor and take care of everything that comes along with purchasing a new home or selling your home, right? From the down payment to closing costs, to home improvements, renovation projects that you might have already in your mind before you even, close on the house. How is our budget going to be affected? Are there any adjustments to what we're currently doing that will ensure that this process goes as smoothly as possible? And same thing with selling your home, right? You're going through all those same adjustments. We want to make sure that everything's ironed out to ensure that it's going to be as simple of a process as possible, and any hiccups to your finances, we can just avoid them altogether.
Okay, so I know this question is coming up, but it's definitely on my mind. So at what point do you recommend a home buyer or a home seller reaching out to you during their process?
Like yesterday. So it's a tricky question because, right, the question's always, or the answer is always going to be like as soon as possible. The person who started yesterday was always going to have a one-up on the person who waits until tomorrow. To me, it's always helpful to be in a solid financial place and have those foundational pieces taken care of before you go into this process. But life doesn't always work out that way, right? So I think that as soon as you start going through the process of house hunting, or even have the idea that it's going to be a purchase on your time horizon, or you plan on selling the home, I think that's when to have the conversation. Make sure all our ducks in a row, and we have the resources there to help us through the process.
Awesome. I think that was absolutely perfect. I feel like a lot of people always want to wait, like definitely home buyers. They always want to wait until after they buy the house. And there's just so many things that you could potentially have avoided if you have, met with you first and then gone through the process. So I think it's really, really important. And it's huge that you said yesterday, because that's huge. Like if you would have done it yesterday, all of your roller coasters that you went through, it probably could have just been a smooth ride. So it's super, super important for everyone that's watching. If you want, to buy a house, or if you're looking to sell your house, please meet with Meghan yesterday. So you're already behind because it's today.
I know that's not the answer that they wanted to hear, but my best answer.
All right, so next question, because I just feel like this is super important. How can you help with a home buyer's down payment?
Yeah, so like I said, having a conversation as early as possible when that idea of purchasing a home comes to mind is going to be beneficial. That way we can already have your budget ironed out. We can figure out exactly what we need to allocate towards our home purchase and closing costs, right? Have that foundation already set and solid. I compare a financial plan to building a home a lot of times, honestly. So we don't just go into, starting to build our dream kitchen, because we know we need a really solid foundation to build off of. So our dream kitchen isn't going to last us very long if we don't start with that solid foundation. So a financial plan is essentially the same thing. We want to make sure that we have those foundational pieces put in place that are going to ensure any sort of financial curveball that's thrown our way, we don't have to worry about it. We're not going to be affected long term by that curveball. We don't have to be worried about it in the long run because we know we're all set. So there's many different saving strategies depending on the individual that we use to help them allocate a specific amount for a down payment, whether it's investment vehicles or just high yield savings accounts, things like that. It'll depend on their budget and how much they plan on allocating towards the home. But yeah, I like that question a lot.
So is it possible for those who are just unsure, is it possible to draw from your pension or your 401k to help you with the down payment? And if so, how are you able to help them with that decision?
So, like I said, we'll always take a look at comprehensively of their entire financial plan when we're looking at what assets do they already have in place. Maybe they don't have a specific amount that's needed in a savings account and our only option is to draw from a 401k, then I would say, we can take that route. But if we have a long time horizon, say we have 6 to 12 months before we plan on purchasing a home, I would say let's save up as much as we possibly can in that time frame before that, so we don't have to draw from our assets, just because we want to avoid that at all costs. But if it's the only option, it's certainly an option that we can help out with. Everybody is a little bit different.
Okay. Now with because I don't know much about this, but I'm sure a lot of people have questions with this, and I know one of my clients to do this. When you end up drawing from a pension or 401k, does that somehow hurt you in the long run?
So you have to pay yourself back, essentially. So you are paying interest, but to yourself. So in the long run, it's going to affect your retirement plan. We want to ensure that, if you have an age set in mind that you want to be retired by, we can certainly get you there, and we're not going to fall back on our long-term goals. That's one reason I don't always, go for that as a first option. But if it is an only option, then, we'll make it happen, and we'll have to get us back to where we started from later on after the home purchase to get our 401k back to where we want that to be.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Do you see a lot of people drawing from their 401k to purchase their house?
I don't. If they are talking to an advisor, we're advising them not to. But if they come to us afterwards and they have done that, it's not something that's going to set them back a horrible amount. We're going to make sure that they can get to where they need to be retirement wise. But if they're having the conversations with an advisor prior to purchasing a home, then we're not always taking that route.
Awesome. So that goes back to, before you do anything, you need to meet with Meghan yesterday. Awesome. All right, so next question is, what are some common mistakes clients make during the home buying or home selling process that could have been avoided if they just met with you?
So I think I kind of just answered that essentially. So that was a good one. But yeah, things like that, drawing from assets that we certainly don't need to touch in the event that we could have built up a down payment on a home in other areas. But really, I think that this question is almost more for you, Kadijah, right? Everybody's in the home buying process. They need a solid real estate agent to help them navigate through such an exciting but stressful time in their lives. And I think it's so much fun hunting for your dream home, just because I remember doing it. It was very stressful, but a lot of fun. I think your agent really makes or breaks that experience for you. So yes, while you definitely want to get your finances in place and really ensure that there's no gaps to the plan that you already have before, during, and after the process of going through the home buying process, I think more so you don't want to make the mistake of working with the wrong agent, and having someone that's really going to be by your side and help you through this process of answering any questions that you have and hunting for you on that end as well.
Oh man, I couldn't have agreed more.
Like thinking back to my experience, and it was great, and I was like I said, they make it or break it for you. So
yes. Very, very good.
Girl.
Awesome. All right, so here we go. What are some common myths or misunderstandings that you've heard about in regards to a financial advisor?
Well, this is a good one. So you kind of mentioned this a little earlier back as well. A financial advisor costs too much, or I always hear I don't make enough money to have a financial advisor. That's a huge one. So like I said already, I don't have a fee-based practice. It's completely free to have a conversation with me. So there's really no excuse not to, but also, I want my clients to start their financial plans as young as possible, right? We're not starting out in our careers making our highest income earning dollars. I always say it's not how much money you make at all. It's more so your outlook and, your hustle to get to your future goals. You can make minimum wage and have hustle to get yourself to the best version of yourself in the future as possible. And I promise, I can make that happen. But you can also be a millionaire and not have a clue the things that you need to be doing and think that you're all set and ensure that, you'll never ensure generational wealth is going to last forever and it'll end with you.
Right. Actually a really, really good point, because I remember I met your team when I was doing my full-time 9-to-5 job, and I don't even remember if I was even doing a real estate yet, but I do remember I started meeting very, very constantly with your team when I made the decision that I wanted to leave my full-time job and go full-time with real estate. So for everyone who is a business owner that's looking to leave their 9-to-5 job and they want to be an entrepreneur, I promise you, you need a financial advisor. You cannot do it by yourself. And if you think you could do it by yourself, do not do it by yourself. If you look at, the millionaires, right? They have a team of people that they leverage for information. So if you're looking to get to that level, why not start building your team now? Why not have your financial advisor now? Why not have your accountant now? And so on and so forth. You will save so much money and so much time just because you're leveraging the people who are experts in that field, who can give you the information. So you're not thinking on your own, right? Like for me, I don't want to run numbers. Like I don't want to try and figure out my financials. I do not want to do my taxes. I don't want to do any of that, right? I want to help people buy and sell houses, and that is it. So that's why I leverage Meghan and her team, so that it's like, okay, guys, well, this is what I want, right? Like if you guys see my post on Facebook, I want to buy a MacBook. Guess what? If you think I'm just going to swipe my card to buy a MacBook, you're lying. Because I reached out to my financial advisor yesterday and told her, hey, I want this MacBook. Let me know how I should go about getting it. You know what I mean? So it's like, put that burden on your team. It just makes so much sense. I'm less stressful, right? Because I'm like, hey, she'll tell me what's the best way to go about it. So I'm not sitting here stressing myself out, debating, oh my gosh, how should I get it, and so on and so forth. So, hey, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, and that's what I always say too. I'm like, you certainly can try and go about it yourself. My clients will say, okay, so what are the things that I need to do in order to start this? And I'm like, that's what I'm here for. I'm taking the stuff off of your back. I'm doing it for you. Don't worry about it at all. You know, focus on your business. That's what you're good at, and I'll focus on this. This is what I'm good at.
Yes, I can tell that is, I've met a lot of people that are, that struggle with that, right? Because they're, it's their business, it's their passion, it's their love, and they feel like that they need to control all aspects of it. So I can see how it's definitely hard to give up pieces of your business to other people and actually put your trust in them to help you get to the level that you want to be. But I tell you right now, come on, look at my wall. Listen, that's because of her team, not just because of me. That's because of her team. I was able to accomplish all of that. So, yes. All right, I digress because I can go hours to talk about Meghan and her team. So, next question. COVID has impacted many people who were probably thinking of buying or selling their home, and they are no longer confident that this is something that they can do. How can a financial advisor help?
Yeah, so I think this is another mindset thing. I think, COVID's impacted a lot of people very negatively. But I think that what you think might be horrible timing to be on a hunt for a new home or trying to sell yours might not be as, horrible timing as you think. I think that you can probably even speak on this a little bit better than I can, Kadijah, but there's definitely some advantages to purchasing or selling a home during these times as well. I know a lot of my clients have purchased homes in this past year and sold homes as well. I know mortgage loan interest rates hit a record low this year, so I know that it's been a horrible year in a lot of senses, but I don't think it's the worst time to purchase or sell a home.
No, it's not. Actually,
I'm like, let me just double check with you. You're the expert, but I don't think so.
Just gonna insert myself in. Actually, if you do want to buy a house, do it now with me. If you do want to sell a house, do it now with me. All right, I digress.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the last question. And it's, many people believe they can manage, we just talked about this, haha. Many people believe they can manage their own finances and they don't need a financial advisor. What are some of the pros or benefits of having a financial advisor?
Yeah, so just to speak on it a little bit more, I hear all the time, I always hear, I know I'm all set, I'm doing everything that I need to be doing. I invest in my 401k, so I have it all handled. I have yet to meet someone that is all set, right? There's 26 different areas that we work in, so you certainly might have retirement all taken care of, but there's still 25 other areas that we can look at and make sure that you're, doing everything else that you can be doing to have a full and complete comprehensive plan. So, like I said, there's no cookie cutter scenario. It's going through different stages in everybody's lives. Nobody's the same. But at least I can be a source of knowledge to somebody or education, in the sense that they are doing everything else that they need to be doing right now, or maybe it's just bad timing and they can't start any foundational pieces at the moment, but it's just setting them up and showing them what they can be doing. Like I said, taking the responsibility off their back and ensuring that all these moving pieces are in place and you're not missing a beat ever, right? So like I said, always worst case scenario, you're doing all of the right things that you should be doing right now, but we're looking ahead and getting you on track for where you want to be even further down in the future. You're all set, but there's no gaps to your plan. Even that's just peace of mind, right? You're doing everything you need to do, double checking that, reassuring it for you. I don't think it's ever worth not worth your time. I think it's always worth a conversation.
Agreed. Totally agree. All right, so that is all of the questions that I have. Ainsley, are there any questions out there that I'm not catching?
Sorry, I was just figuring out the mic situation. No, I think I have not seen any.
Perfect.
I guess I'll ask one.
Yeah.
Just to throw something in the mix there. What made you want to help people advise their finances?
That's a good question. So I've worked in finance for quite some time. I was actually working in a hospital setting where, I had the office. I was sitting, in front of a computer 8 hours a day, very repetitive, same scenario day in, day out. And I'm a person that thrives off of interaction and, being around other people. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't just be in front of my computer. So coming across this opportunity, I was like, this is the best of both worlds. I get to incorporate my background in finance and I get to interact with people on a daily basis, build those relationships. And, it's a lot of self-satisfaction too, helping people. I have my own financial plan and I've been able to see my progression over the years. So it's helping people, show them this is where you're starting, but this is where you're going to be. And it's a lot of self-satisfaction as well.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's inspiring because that's a big duty to help people, with their finances. A lot of people are private about that, don't feel that comfortable. So obviously you have to be to be both a real estate agent and a financial advisor, you have to be like the perfect people person because that's really what it's about. So
right, it's very personal, digging into an area of someone's life that they're not openly talking about with anyone, really, right? It's like, we don't have these conversations with our friends or our family. So it's like, okay, now this random person I don't know is asking me all of these personal questions. So I try to keep it just as light and, airy as possible, where I'm not here to to tell you like what you're doing is wrong and point my finger and scold you. It's like, all right, we're all humans. Let's just like have a conversation around the things that you're doing financially, and I'll give you my expertise and peace of mind on how to better yourself.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Honestly, I might hit you up after this.
There you go. Call me, girl. Yeah. Thank you both for having me. This was so much fun.